Holy fucking shit, dude. Oh my god. I just got done watching the president's, I don't even know what the fuck it was, press briefing right before his cabinet meeting or whatever the fuck it was today, November 1st. He was talking about that, I guess that dude who ran the truck into a bunch of people or whatever in New York. Some of the shit, the rhetoric he was saying is scary. Because the problem with his whole thing is there might be some legitimate truth into what he's saying, the president, as far as, he's talking about chain migration. We don't want this lottery of these just random diversity people coming in because we don't know who they are. There might be some truth into that, and I'm not even going to talk about that because that's not the point. But he's talking about making the penalty for certain things, like criminal justice type stuff, stronger. He's saying it's weak and it's pathetic and we need to make it stronger. Dude, that is some scary fucking rhetoric right there. Because this idiot who did this played right into Trump's hands. Because he's clearly a Muslim. He clearly, bullshit, all that stuff. He played right into Trump's fucking bullshit hands. He did nothing for Allah. He did nothing for that shit. He played right into Trump's hands because it's exactly what Trump wants. Now, I'm not saying he necessarily wanted people to die. I'm not saying that necessarily. I'll give him some shred of whatever, but it plays right into his narrative that we need to close the border completely, fuck everybody, we're going to be unto ourselves and blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, there may even be some truth to that. There may be some legitimate truth to that. I'm not even going to get into that. But he's saying that God, dude, it goes back to what he said in, what was it, Saudi Arabia or whatever he was, when he did his Middle East trip. And he said that we all need to come together as God's children to basically go wage war against ISIS and terrorists. So we come together as peace to go make war, which is very anti-fuck Christ. Okay, do you hear the words? That's very anti-Christ in nature. Because the Antichrist will come preaching peace, but will be given a bow to go out and to conquer. And now, with this idiot who did what he did in New York, Trump wants to make the laws for terrorists stronger. Now, that sounds like a great idea. It does. When you look at it at face value, yes, terrorists should be held accountable. They should be, fast-tracked through the system instead of this, 2-3 year court thing, appeals, blah, blah, blah. They should literally, boom, let's just be fast-tracked. But what happens when that terror group is gone? We'll find another. What happens when they're gone? We'll find another. Eventually it's going to come down to you, to me, to anybody else who doesn't follow suit with the world fucking program, with the new world fuck order, the global system. It's going to eventually come back to hurt us. So you see all these things that we're doing, that Trump wants to do against terrorism. Well, what happens when the Christians become the terrorists? Oh, that would never happen because Trump loves Jesus and Trump is God and Trump is from God and he's Cyrus and blah, blah, blah. Dude, what happens when we become the terrorists? Because we won't adhere to the global community. We won't adhere to the global unity bullshit. When there will be people who will literally actually stand up for Jesus and not stand up for the GOP and stand up for Ayn Rand and stand up for that bullshit? What happens to those people when the Christians become the terrorists? When the Bible says he will be given power to wage war against the saints. What happens then? What happens at that moment? Now we have this terrorism, could be anything. Now, if you don't want to adhere to the global demand, the global world system, when it does happen, and it's here, it's coming, it's not that far off. What happens if you don't want to be a part of that? Then you are a terrorist. You will be labeled a terrorist. Christians specifically will be labeled a terrorist. And it won't be just Christians. There'll be other religions who don't want a part of it. They don't have Jesus, but they don't want to be a part of it. So, that's some scary rhetoric. I'm sorry. It just is. Now, is it right? Is it good? Yeah, terrorists should be, sure, fast track the legal system. Put them in Gitmo. Do whatever you got to do. That sounds good. But what happens when you become the fucking terrorist? Because there's no one else. Because it funnels... Essentially, terrorism is going to funnel everyone down into a group. I mean, shit. Think about it. We had the Taliban, which then morphed into whatever. Now we're up to ISIS. Now, granted, they had the appearance of morphing from one to the other, but eventually you're going to run out of people. Although, to be honest with you, the way we keep bombing and killing people and shit, you're always going to have ISIS members. You're always going to have Taliban members. You're always going to have somebody who hates us because we bombed their fucking village because, we have no empathy for anybody. We just, hey, blow up their fucking village, fuck them. Somebody's sitting there, they lost their family. Next thing you know, they want to go become a martyr for their bullshit cause. So, yeah, you're always going to have that. But, I'm sorry, this is some scary shit, dude. This is some legitimately scary shit. You listen to his rhetoric today. You listen to that shit. About how... Now, again, I'm not even saying what he's saying is technically wrong. I'm just looking at it from a bigger picture. As... This is fucked up. Because... terrorism is a broad term. Now, if it's just Muslim extremists, okay, fine. Now, if you're a Muslim, does that mean you're an extremist? Potentially, it doesn't mean. It does mean that if you are Muslim, you are potentially a terrorist. Now, is that fair? No, but sometimes you got to take your shoes off at the airport. Is it fair? No, but you got to do what you got to do. So if you're a practicing Muslim, guess what? Now you're already put on the hot seat. You're already put under the microscope. Well, again, if we're going to transition into a new world order, and by the way, this fucking moron wants to cut taxes beyond recognition. Now, I don't know about you. When Reagan cut his taxes, the economy for the middle class sucked in the 80s. It did. It sucked. Because their idea of the middle class is like $300,000 a year. The middle class is like $50,000 a year. Okay, let's be honest. That's the middle class. If you got $300,000, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. You're not gonna go without. If you're $50,000, that's middle class. So it is what it is. But under Reagan, the economy sucked. Under Bush, it sucked. Under W, it sucked. We even had a recession under W. And now this fucker wants to cut it by leaps and bounds. So now within one speech, you've had potential Christians becoming terrorists at some point. He's going, dude, in this, honest to Christ, this fucking briefing that he did, he's going to go this Friday, I guess, to talk to world leaders. So now we have, the whole world leader, world government bullshit. He wants tax cuts to completely cripple this nation. I'm sorry, they're going to cripple this fucking country. They're not going to bring in all these millions and trillions of dollars from offshore and all that. It's not going to do any of that shit, dude. What do rich people do with their fucking money? They don't invest it back into their job. They put it in their offshore fucking accounts that are not taxed. So unless we do away with taxes completely, that money, and even if we did, let's say we ended tax just completely, zero tax for everything. Fuck it. Just fuck it. No more tax ever. Those fucking people would just simply hold it in their fucking bank account. They're not going to, create jobs. That's just a stupid narrative that does not make sense. It doesn't work. We've never seen it. We've never seen it. Now, what have we seen? Poor people have money, they buy stuff, and guess what? Poor people buy stuff from Amazon. Well, guess what? Amazon just added 1,000 new jobs, and they've expanded. Because they're doing so well. Because people have money, they buy stuff. Okay, that we've seen. Tax cuts, we've seen nothing but recession, bullshit. I mean, it's just... So now you got literally the New World Order. You got the one world government. You got the one world economy, because he's going to fuck our economy. Dude, he's going to rape our economy. He is going to rape us. He is going to rape us, dude. And even if they cut taxes on everybody else, and then they cut all the social programs so that people who don't have anything ever, okay, guess what? If the people who don't have stuff don't have money, it's not going into the economy. So guess what? The only people who are going to have a little bit of extra money are obviously those who, work. But the problem is, their little bit that they're going to get is not going to make up for all the money that the social programs bring in the economy. So you're talking about the entire economy is going to collapse, dude. You're basically talking about undercutting what you've got. Now you can say, well, the poor people who don't work, they shouldn't have money. Okay, I understand some people see that way. But you have to understand, it is there is a symbiotic relationship between the very poor and the very rich. And the middle class is kind of caught in the middle. Because I've been saying this for years. If the rich like their cushy lifestyle, they should enjoy tax day. They should enjoy tax day, because that money goes right to the poor people who go and buy the shit that they're selling. Because if the poor people don't have money to buy what they're selling, guess what? That means their profits go down, which means their bank account goes down. So, again, if they like their cushy lifestyle, they should like paying taxes. But they don't want to pay taxes because they want to have their cake and eat it too. They've got so much money they don't know what to do with, but they want to keep having more and more and more and more and more and more. It's greed, is what that shit is. It's fucking greed. Like, Donald Trump is doing okay. He's paying, if he paid his taxes, he'd be paying a lot of taxes, but he's still making a lot of money. Okay. So if you're making so much money that you don't know what to do with, and then you look at your tax and, well, I'm going to pay a lot of taxes. Dude, that's just fucking plain greed. That's all that is. It's plain fucking greed. It is simply fucking greed. Nothing more. I mean, he literally hit the trifecta in this, because he talked about literally coming together as the people and blah, 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 and, I mean, he hit the New World Order trifecta, is what he did in this fucking speech. And it's disturbing. It is absolutely disturbing, because it's masked around, there might be a little bit of truth to what he's saying. There's a little bit of truth there. It's a little bit of, like, for example, a little bit of truth. You know what? The mark of the beast is actually a good thing. It's a natural progression of society. Yes, having some sort of microchip planted on you, excuse me, that has all your information. It could have your Literally, you could have your car keys, because you could just run your little hand over the thing and start your car, your bank account, your medical. It would all be right there. You wouldn't lose your card, you wouldn't lose your keys, you wouldn't lose any of that stuff. That's a great thing. That is a great next logical step. And if it wasn't for a bunch of bullshit, I'd be excited for that, because it'd be like, yes, that makes sense. That is something we need. That is something we could use. That is important. That is good. That is actually good. There is good there. But the problem is, it leads into a new world order. It does. It leads into a bunch of people at the top watching what you do. There will come a time when they know exactly where you are. In fact, it's already here. They know right where we are. They know exactly what we're doing. Every single solitary second of every single solitary day, they know exactly what we're doing. And if they want to find out, gee, are you a terrorist? It's all based on this terrorist bullshit. And yeah, eradicating terrorism is good, but not at the expense of yourself. Am I a terrorist? I don't think I'm a terrorist. I have no desire to go blow shit up. I have no desire to go hurt people. Maybe verbally. I might verbally abuse somebody, but I have no desire to physically harm them. But am I going to stand up for a one world government? Hell no. I mean, that's your true patriot right there. See, because it's going to be a point when the good becomes evil and evil becomes good. So you got people who are literally standing up for literal patriotism, and they're going to be considered evil because they're not standing up for the one world government. One world government, that's not patriotic. But it's going to be painted as patriotic. Again, you see this shit. You see these people, and they wrap their fucking selves in the flag, and they sit there with their little Bible and their little guns and shit. And that mentality is going to go into a global government. It is. And I've said this before. Nationalism leads to globalism, because you see it. It's like a microcosm. You see like this little miniature version of it, and then you expand it. Again, would it be so far-fetched to see a global United States? Would it be? Or we all come together? What is that really that far-fetched? Now, again, you got these leaders who would not fall for that. But you throw in Arab Spring, you throw in Iraq, you throw in Iran, you throw in all this other bullshit. These overthrowing dictators, Libya, Saddam, all these fucking people. You get rid of all these fuckers. You replace them with puppets who are like, sure, we'll jump on board with that. Or if not, we'll pay them a couple trillion, like Pakistan. Dude, we'll pay Pakistan. They'll jump on board. They won't give us Bin Laden, but they'll jump on board with that shit, especially if the money keeps flowing. They'll jump on board. They'll be your new welfare states. They already are welfare states. They'll jump on... Dude, we are right now currently at the apex of like pushing this shit over the edge. This is not theoretical. This is not potential. It's here. I mean, we are here. We are not that far from a global government. The only thing that we need is a global catastrophe. Now, if there's a pre-tribulation rapture, that would be it. And I've always thought that would be a good example, but that to me is a little too simple. That just seems a little too by the numbers. Where it's like, oh, the rapture happens and the New World Order starts. That to me is just, it's too simplified. I mean, it could very well be, but it's too simplified. So I think there has to be something else. Now, I've talked about the rapture before. Now, I don't know how I feel about this. I pondered the idea of, what if the dead in Christ rise first, and then the rest of us are taken up as two different events at two different times? Because when you read it, it does insinuate that it's like one and then instantly the other. But it doesn't necessarily say that. You could have bookends of the tribulation. where the dead in Christ rise. Now think about that. You got trillions, gazillions of people throughout the world who just all of a sudden the graves just open up. I don't know if that would be enough of a catalyst to start a world, a new world order. Now, if people just randomly disappeared like a rapture, then yes, because it would affect everybody. We would all know somebody. Whoever's left would all know some. But again, that would leave no remnant, and it poses problems. I don't know how to work through those problems so that they make sense to me. So I don't know how that would work. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, this is some scary fucking rhetoric, and it's only going to get worse because he is going to legitimately destroy this economy with these tax. If he gets the amount of tax cuts he's talking about, and the kind that the Republicans have wanted for decades, where's that money going to come from? It's going to come from your social programs that they're going to completely destroy. Look what they did to Obamacare. They literally cut the legs out from underneath it. You don't think they're not going to do that with Social Security? You don't think they're going to do that with, hell, even basic welfare? Which, yeah, listen, I get it. There are people who take advantage of it, but there are also people who legitimately need it. Food stamps. You think that's going to be a safe program? They wanted to cut that for a long time. They're going to destroy these programs. They're going to undercut them. They're going to underfund them, and it's going to collapse under their own weight. Don't get me wrong. I understand on some level they are bloated programs. I get it. There's a lot of people who need a lot of help. I get that. I understand that beyond. Trust me. But to undercut it, to just completely destroy people is fucked up. And for what? Tax cuts? Because you've got so much money you don't know what to do with and you need more? And it pains you every time you have to pay your taxes? I mean, really? So what are you going to have left? You're basically going to... Your middle... Dude, once they destroy the legitimate poor people, your middle class is going to be your poor people. And guess who's next? Guess who's next after that? They're going to come for the middle class. They're going to rape the middle class. They've been raping the middle class for years. My parents paid more in taxes, percentage-wise. Now, maybe not dollar-wise, obviously, but percentage-wise, than Mitt Romney and Donald Trump put together. My parents back in the day, 2003-ish, were paying probably closer to 35% in taxes. And these motherfuckers together combined were paying about 14%. Now, yeah, sure, they had millions of dollars, so they're paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars. My parents were paying, piddly, but dude, the fucking greed, that's all it is greed. The whole fucking universe is going to implode because of greed. Because guess what? You get rid of the poor, you get rid of the middle class, what's left? The rich people. Well, guess what? There's going to be different variants of that, too. You're going to have the poor rich, and then you're going to have the rich, and then you have the ultra rich. And the ultra rich are going to feed on the less rich. Again, it's just, you're going to have like one guy left with everything, and everybody else is fucking dead. That's how it's going to work. I mean, that's just how the whole system is designed to work. Because somebody's going to feed off of somebody else, and then eventually there's going to be nothing left. And this fucker is going to literally destroy this country. He is going to physically destroy it. Economically. Now, there was one of this, I was talking about the other day, this Ken Peters prophecy. He had this prophecy that a weapon would go off. Now, I don't necessarily think it has to be a weapon per se. It could be the sun. It could be numerous things. But there was some sort of EMP field that went off over the United States. This is what he saw in his dream. And if you watch his shit, it's intriguing. It's interesting. the way he paints the pictures and stuff, and the whole Rapture and the whole thing. And for about 2 weeks, our entire infrastructure is gone. Our light bulbs are gone. Like the light bulbs you have in your thing right now, boom, gone. Now, if I was out with, seriously, if all the light bulbs in this house just popped, I don't have any. I have nothing. So when it gets dark out, that's it. I got nothing. And if there's no electricity, we're talking like massive EMP field, there's no electricity, there's no lights, no motor cars, no nothing. Okay? What the fuck? I mean, could you imagine that? The banks are fucked up. I mean, you'd have maybe people with like generators and shit, but like the entire economic situation would just be just complete shit. Now, that always seemed a little far-fetched, but okay, maybe North Korea did something, or China, or even Russia, or somebody did something like that. But is it that far-fetched now when you got a fucking guy in office who just basically wants to like nuke everybody? You're telling me that having some sort of explosion overhead that cause an EMP field is really that far-fetched? That's not that far-fetched. Not today, it isn't. I mean, it's always a threat, yes, but hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was Donald Trump doing something fucking stupid and the thing blows up in his face, literally. Blows up in our face. It was our own nuke or whatever up in the atmosphere that fucking did it. I wouldn't be surprised. That would actually be hysterical when you think about it. Now, that would be now. See, what would happen is our entire dude. If that happened, everything that we've led up to this point, like everything Trump is doing right now, all this shit, he's like edging right toward the fucking top of the mountain. Something like that happened, boom, we'd go right down the fucking mountain, Jack and Jill down the fucking hill is what it would be. Okay, the bitch would become tumbling after is what I'm saying. And our entire economy would be destroyed. Everything that we have would be destroyed. Everything would be fucked. There would be riots. There would be, I mean, dude, our entire nation would be fucked. And if we went down, like, yeah, we could probably sustain like a Greece or something like that went down. But if the entire United States goes down, especially with the dollar being still barely holding on, if we shit the bed, I mean, the entire world would shit the bed. And out of that rubble, like the fucking phoenix, would rise this fucking nation, this global nation of bullshit, because we couldn't do it. We could not do it anymore. It would be a logical next step because we couldn't do it anymore. You have all these individual nations, all these individual states, all these individual things doing their own individual thing. And if we're this global community, especially after World War II, okay, because that's an interesting thing that happened there, where we're all tied together. So like if somebody got nuked, they themselves would get completely fucked up because, you know, it's in their best interest not to hurt other people, because if they fuck up other nations, it eventually comes back out of them, because we're that closely united is what I meant to say. Knit is what I meant to say, not unit. Whatever the fuck I meant to say. Who gives a shit? That we are so closely knit that it would fuck their economy up. It would completely rape their economy. So it's in Russia's best interest not to bomb us. It's in our best interest not to bomb China. It's in our best interest not to completely wipe out these fucking nations, even though we probably should on some level, and a couple of them. But people don't get that. People don't understand how closely united we are in that front. And the minute you fuck something up like that, it is a house of cards. The minute you fuck something up, the minute one of the big players goes down, the entire thing shits the bed. Because no other nation could fit the bill if we went down. Or if China went down. If China went down, we're all fucked. You know, I don't know about Russia as much, but again, some of these little, like Greece, again, we could prop up. The Europeans could prop that up. Without, I mean, it wouldn't be easy, but they probably could for a while. Spain, a few places like that, they could prop up, but after a while, it's going to take its toll, and it's going to take its toll there, and then it's going to ripple, and it's going to take its toll everywhere else. Everybody else is going to feel it. In fact, we're already feeling certain parts of it already. So the infrastructure to the New World Order is already there. It's been there for a while. So to sit there and pretend like, oh, this is some new thing, no. Everything's in place. I mean, literally everything is in place. You just need that one major event to push it over the edge. And again, what would again? Let's just say the rapture was pre-tribulation. You've got billions of people just disappear. It's a global catastrophe. We all have to come together and be like, hey, you know what? Fuck this. Let's stop petty bullshit. Let's stop the arguments. Let's stop all the bullshit. We need to come together. You can run your own area the way you want, within reason, but you're going to come under the banner of this, and anybody who doesn't is going to be completely annihilated. How many countries do you think would, if it was posed to legitimate annihilation or join the group? How many would just, you could either keep what you're doing, keep your cushy lifestyle, or you're going to get annihilated. You're telling me that a lot of them wouldn't just jump on board? Probably half of them are on board already. I wouldn't be surprised. Dude, I was surprised 99% of the fucking countries are already on board. I mean, what do you think these G8 and G7s and G10 fucking summits are all about? They're making fucking, they're already planning this shit. And they literally need just one global catastrophe. And it could be anything. Because, like, for example, you look at the tornadoes, okay, that's local. And because, like, for example, we had, what, we had 3 just recently. Now, did that affect us? On some level it did, but it didn't, like, affect me. No, it affected me as my country. It affected Texas, and it affected other places, Puerto Rico and whatnot. But it didn't affect me personally. Now, if we had something that was, so again, it was localized to just this country, but it was also localized to the areas that it hit. It didn't hit me, so it didn't really affect me per se. I mean, there will be a ripple effect, but nothing catastrophic. Now, if you picture something like that happened worldwide, where it affects not only me here in New York, but also affects somebody in Texas and California, and then somebody in Europe, somebody in, Japan, it affects us all, that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. We'd all come together under a unique banner of holy shit. And a rapture would do that. It would. But again, I think it's a little paint by numbers. I think it's a little too simplified. Now, it could just be that way. It could just be like, oh, there it is. Very simple. Follow the dots. Make the picture. Follow the dots. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think what type of global catastrophe. Unless it's like a CERN kind of thing, or like this massive black hole opens up or some shit, or this void, this just whatever. I mean, it could be something stupid like that. I mean, I suppose, but I don't know, man. It's scary shit. I mean, am I reading too much into it? I don't know, but I hear what he's saying, and I'm thinking of. Because again, if you listen to that Ken Peters prophecy dream, and he gets taken in, and they basically behead him, and they basically kill him for not joining the New World Order, or whatever they want to call it. That's some scary shit. And you hear Trump saying the exact same fucking thing, though. You hear him saying the exact same thing. We need to basically take these terrorists, we need to fast track them through the legal system. Now think about a global government that comes together and says, you know what, there's zero tolerance for any of that stuff. You either accept it or you die. There's no in between. You accept it, you get everything you want. You don't accept it, you die, because you're not part of the system. You're not part of the program. You got to be a part of the system. You basically have to infuse yourself into the system. You have to, almost like the Borg or the Phalanx. You have to just morph into it and let it take. You become part of the system. You become the very thing that you hate. You become these things. It actually infuses you into it. And if you're not part of that, well then guess what? You're not part of the bigger picture. And that really is not that far-fetched. I mean, it's not. We could talk, biblical prophecy all we want, but that is not far-fetched at this point. It's not. Shit, we're seeing it. I mean, Donald Trump's doing it basically right now. It's like, talking about the guys who don't want to stand for the anthem. Well, if you don't stand for the anthem, then you're not patriotic. And you're not patriotic, then you might as well get out of the country. I mean, he's calling for them to lose their jobs. And if you got a sitting president who is calling for people to lose their jobs because he doesn't agree with what they're doing, and they're not breaking the law, and he can dictate what he can push the narrative, he can dictate what's going to take place, and actually get maybe the NFL to get, put pressure on them to fire these people. That's some scary shit right there. That's some legitimately scary shit right there. Especially if you're an American. That's scary. It's very scary. Now you're telling me you couldn't see it where, one step further, you don't stand for the anthem, you fucking die? Is that really that far-fetched? Is that far-fetched? Again, under the circumstances, if there was a massive world calamity and we all came together and it's like, okay, zero tolerance for anything. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, imagine not being able to buy or sell. Now think about it. It almost would be shit, dude. That would be almost. That almost sounds like a Republican entitlement program if you think about it. Like, you take this mark of the beast and you put this mark on you, this chip or whatever, and you have access to everything. Dude, that's scary shit. That is legitimately scary fucking shit. That they would hold that over someone's head. You can't eat if you don't do this. Oh, it's like that fucking Bible verse they like to take out of context. You don't work, you don't eat. Which is completely taken out of context and is not even what it's saying. That's not even what it's saying, but you take it out of context, that sounds good. So, hey, you don't take the mark of the beast, you don't eat. You don't work for the government, you don't work for the system. Which is so ironic, especially when you consider Republicans are so pissy about big government and so on and so forth. And what are they going to do? They're going to not only are they going to have big government, they're going to have big global government. I mean, they're worried about mandates from Obamacare that says you have to buy health care versus, gee, if you don't take this mark, you're going to fucking die. And they're okay with that? They're cool with that? Seriously? So, whatever this global catastrophe is going to have to be, it's going to have to be a big one. Which, again, I guess could be a rapture. I mean, because, I mean, seriously, how are you going to get somebody like Paul Ryan to sit there and Rand Paul and be like, oh, yeah, we need big government. We need to have a global government so we can all come together in peace. I mean, come on, dude. Something big is going to have to happen. Like, major. And I don't know if the rapture is it, but again, the rapture would tie everybody together because everybody would know somebody who'd been raptured. I mean, everybody's going to know somebody. Like, you're not going to be exempt from that. Like, let's say you're not saved, but your mother is. Boom, your mother's gone. I mean, think about it. Let's just say your mother was raptured. Okay, well, I know your mother, so I'm affected to a degree. Maybe not to the extent of you, but you're there. Your wife is there. Your kids are there. Dan is there. Even Angie's there somewhere, in prison somewhere, but whatever. You know? Now think about that. One person affects a lot of people. So, if your mother disappeared with like a bunch of other people, and they're like, oh, we need to come together, I'd be like, sure, yeah, do it. I know her. I'm familiar with her. She's gone. What happened? Where is she? I want to know where she is. I mean, think about that. Okay, so sure, it makes sense. Now, again, I don't know, as I said earlier, about the dual rapture concept. Now, if, let's just say the graves just opened up, and we all have Christian relatives who disappeared. We'd have to ask ourselves, okay, what happened to them? Could it still work? It could still work, but I think it would be a little bit problematic. I don't think it would be as big a deal as if people just randomly walking around on the earth just poof disappeared. But again, if the graves opened up and people are missing, who stole those bodies? Who stole those caskets? Who stole those things? And it's worldwide. It happened in like a twinkling of an eye kind of a concept. So it's like, what happened? And that could be maybe enough to push us over. I don't think it would set up a world war government, because the point of the mark of the beast is so that they could track where we are. So again, if people disappear, I mean, shit, dude, imagine if your wife and your mother disappeared. Which is that in like billions of people, and you're like, what the fuck? You'd want to put chips on your kids so your kids don't disappear. You don't want to put a chip on yourself in case somebody comes and takes you. Then somebody with a tracker, with a satellite or whatever, could say, oh, he's over here. The Russians kidnapped him and raped him in the ass or something. I don't know. I don't know what they do to you. Shoot you in the nuts? I don't know what they do to you. Or whatever, the Chinese or whatever. So who the fuck knows? I don't know. Again, the rapture definitely would make a better choice, because it would affect everybody. Because not only would you have the graves disappear, the graves just... And I'm assuming there would be a visible sign of just the whole grave site just decimated. Now, I don't know how much would be left of the person that's in there, but if the casket's gone and there's a big hole where the fucking people used to be, yeah, that would be a little fucked up, I'm not gonna lie. But again, the problem is the people who would give a damn would already be gone anyway. So, I mean, I'm trying to think, like if I disappeared and all of a sudden the old woman's grave just... I mean, how would it affect the cousins, assuming they were still here too? I don't know. I really don't know. But it's some scary shit, I'll tell you. It's legitimately scary shit, because the rhetoric that this president is using right now over some basic shit, like some guy went nuts and humped the curb and ran into some people. Okay. But now he wants to start changing laws. The Bible does say, that the times and laws are going to change. Now, a lot of people say, oh, Obama did that. Believe me, the little bit of law changing that Obama did, I'm not saying it was right, but it was nothing compared to this. Like, he legitimately wants to fast track. I mean, more so than the fucking Patriot Act already does. Because the whole point of the Patriot Act was essentially to not need a court order. Basically, it's if you suspect somebody, go after them. Boom. Which, it's not necessarily a bad thing per se. Like, if somebody suspected me of being a terrorist, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with it. If they came at me and asked me questions and shit, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that. But, because especially if I'm not, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll cooperate. I got nothing to hide, But again, that takes away your freedom. That takes away. I shouldn't have to prove to them. They should have to prove to me why they think I'm a terrorist. That's what the country's based on. Innocent until proven guilty. In this case, you're potentially guilty, so we're going to treat you as if you are guilty. And that's completely not the way it's supposed to be. So, I don't know, man. It's just, we're in a fucking weird time, dude, because a lot of this stuff, I remember back in the 80s, everybody kept saying, oh, Jesus could come in any minute, the rapture could happen in any second. I was thinking as a kid, no, it can't. And the reason it can't, now, I had very limited understanding of, like, history and very limited knowledge of, like, current events, but, like, I did not feel in my heart that the timing was right. Because when you read, especially back in the 80s, dude, when they would explain certain things to you from, like, end of days type stuff, prophecy and revelation and shit, none of that stuff jived with what was going on. Because back then it was Cold War, it was Russia, it was Reagan, it was all that bullshit, Iran-Contra, all that bullshit. I knew in my heart that it was not time, it was not right. There was stuff. We didn't have a mark of the beast. We didn't have chips. We didn't even have computers back then. We didn't have tablets. Like the Bible, it talks about certain things. Like it insinuates like the image of the beast, whether it be like massive communication worldwide, or it's like people would see it worldwide. Well, how would people want to see it worldwide? Oh, well, to see the TV. Well, again, the technology just wasn't there at the time. It just wasn't. It is now. It's here today. It is legitimately. If there's an event worldwide, we can watch it. We'll be watching the news. I mean, shit, 9/11 happened. Like people in Europe who are watching it. So on and so forth. So if there's a major event, we're all going to be watching it. If there's a guy come on the scenes talking about, I'm going to save the world, because he's going to come on, whoever the Antichrist is, he's going to come on and he's going to start talking great things like, oh, we're going to come together and we're going to make a, great place, and we're going to change the world and blah, blah, blah. It's going to be great and wonderful. And he's going to come talking boasts and bullshit is what it is. Now, I mean, speaking of boasts and bullshit, I just listened to the president talk about, he doesn't even understand how any of this shit works, dude. He does not have a single fucking clue. He says, oh, we're going to have this big, fabulous, wonderful tax reform, which is bullshit. It's just a tax cut, which is not the same as reform, but whatever. It's going to be this wonderful, beautiful tax reform, and the House is going to come up with a bill, and then the Senate's going to come up with a bill, and then we're going to combine the two bills, and it's going to be great, and I'm going to sign it. That is not how it fucking works. I mean, that's not how any of it works. You don't just combine it and he signs it. You have to combine it, and then it has to go back, and they have to vote on it. It's just... he doesn't even know what's in the fucking bill. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be huge. He fucking doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. He's talking about this tax plan is going to be the greatest thing ever. Give me a break. At least know what the fuck you're fighting for. He's fighting for tax cuts. It's all tax cuts. That's all he wants. Tax cut. He don't give a fuck. He don't care what it does. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. Blah, 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 blah. He doesn't even know what the fuck is in it. He doesn't even know what the ramifications are. He has no idea. He has no idea what it's going to do to people. He has no idea what it's going to do. All he knows is it's going to make his bank account better. And don't tell me it's any other. I don't know. That almost seems like a conflict of interest when you think about it. Because if he's a rich guy, see, I don't know. I don't think rich guys should be president. Because first of all these people are like, oh, we just need to run the country like we would a business. No, we can't. It's not. It's completely impossible. Because who do you fire? Okay, because when sales are down, guess what? You got to lay off some people to make the profit. Well, guess what? How do you make profit? Who do you lay off? Do you lay off the people on Social Security? Do you lay off the poor? Do you lay off the disabled? Do you lay off the elderly? Do you lay off the vets? Yeah, we're going to lay off the vets because we don't give a fuck about the vets, apparently. They want to risk life and limb to our fucking freedom and our safety, but we don't seem to give a fuck about them when they come back. No. Why don't we fast track that shit? Why don't we fast track that? No, we're going to fast track a fucking terrorist so he doesn't get basically his day in court. But we're, going to make sure that the vets get their day in fucking court, where it takes at least 2 years for them to actually, repeal their claim that has been denied. Same thing with Social Security. Same thing with SSI. You got to wait at least 2 years for the court system. I don't know about you, trying to survive for 2 fucking years with nothing is trying and devastating. Believe me, I understand. I know because I lived through it. I mean, dude, these are some fucked up times. I'll tell you right now, these are fucked up times. My nose is stuffed up too. Oh, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to hate this guy. I don't want to hate the president. I really don't. I don't want to dislike him. I don't want to hate the guy. But he just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say I don't think he's the Antichrist, but because technically, to be fair, again, if we're going with Tim LaHaye's Left Behind books, then whoever the person is essentially going to have a wound to the head, die, and then 3 days later rise from the dead, and he's going to be imbued with Satan. So if that's the case, you could have that with Trump. You could absolutely have that because he's a complete imbecile right now. But when he's imbued with Satan, who the fuck knows? It could be completely 180, completely different picture. He come out talking all the right stuff, all the right words, because I think the person is going to set up a lot of shit, and then if it played out that way, I'm not saying it does, but if it did, then the imbued person with Satan or whatever would then implement those things and run the town with them, basically. I could be wrong on that, but because it literally is like 2 different people. So even though Trump right now is a complete imbecile, you put it in a satanic presence, it's, which you could argue is probably there right now, but you put it in where it's like, okay, now he's in control. In other words, it's the dude who looks the same, but inwardly he's changed. Now I know that sounds a little hokey and whatnot, but well, I mean, that's what the Christian faith is about. We take up basically, I don't want to say take up the mantle of Christ, but we essentially take on his persona in the sense that what he stood for, we too are supposed to stand for, even though it goes at odds against what we are all about. We're about the here and now. We're about the visual. We're about the physical. We're about, us, where it's not about us, it's about him, it's about everybody else. Seek ye the kingdom first. In other words, stop worrying about yourself, start worrying about other people. So, now imagine the opposite. You got a guy who's self-centered, egotistical, and that is Trump. You can't deny that. Even Sean Hannity be like, yeah, I agree with that. And then you take that to the nth degree, which is completely foreign and different than the exact opposite of Christ. Instead of worrying about the kingdom of Christ, you're going to worry about here and now. We're going to worry about America. We're going to make America great. Dude, that is scary fucking shit when you think about it. Now, he may not necessarily be the Antichrist. He may not even turn into the Antichrist. But he is of the spirit of Antichrist. And to say otherwise is completely imbecilic. Because you got a bunch of born-again Christians who just want to believe he's the second coming. Literally. Which I find absolutely disturbing. Because what's adorable about it, almost, is that these people almost worship this guy, all the while they trashed liberals for doing the same thing to Obama, and they did. They worshipped Obama. They did. Chris Matthews, I got a tingler up and down my leg. Oh my God, it's the second coming. Our Savior is here. They did. They treated Obama like a savior. He was a mini Antichrist. He was. In fact, I actually wouldn't be surprised if he came back on the scene somehow. I wouldn't. Under the circumstances, I certainly wouldn't. But, because the reason I say that is because he was set up, he was primed to be potentially an Antichrist. He really was. You can't deny that. He did a bunch of symbolism. I talked about this in other clips. He did. There was symbolism there. There's the pale horse thing. He was into some weird shit. I'm not gonna lie. He was definitely into some shit. And again, I'm not trashing Obama per se, but if you were to say who would make a better Antichrist, Trump or no, I don't know. I think Obama was well more liked, and even people who didn't like him politically, I think people did like him per se. I don't, I could be wrong on that. I think you would have better poll numbers, if you will, for Obama on even the conservative side than you would Trump, who that's got like the lowest approval ratings ever. And even on his own party doesn't even like it. So I don't know what to make of that. But like I said, I think Obama would have made it better, just charismatic, just looks, just just his personality would have been better off as Obama. But I think you could definitely make comparison between Trump and Obama in that sense. You could, because like I said, you look at the way the liberals deified him, and they did. You can't say they didn't. You cannot say they didn't. And now the right, the Christians are like, oh my God, Trump, he's Cyrus, it's the second coming, and oh my God, Jesus sent him, and blah blah blah, he's of God. Oh my God. Seriously, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me with that shit? It's like one of the major things that they hated about the liberals and the way they treated Obama, they're doing with Trump and don't even realize it. I love my president. First off, what's your president done for you lately? Your president hasn't done a damn thing for you. Dude, especially Trump, he is so fucking transparent. He don't give a damn about anybody else. He only cares about his bank account. He only cares about himself. Now he can sit there and tell a nice flowery speech. Oh, we're gonna do it for the middle class and blah 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 blah. They've been saying that bullshit for decades. I've been hearing it my entire life. 40 fucking years. Oh, we're doing it for the middle class. We're doing all this stuff they do for the middle class. You'd think the middle class would be thriving, and it's not. Well, it's because of the liberals. Really? Really? Because of the liberals? Really? What about all the times under Bush? Under W? Under old man Bush? Under Reagan? People before that? What? Are you kidding me? The middle class would be thriving right now. Okay, it would. Is it? No, it's not. So please, kiss my ass. Anyways. Whatever. I'm gonna end this one quick because I can't take any more of this. Maybe I'll do another clip later, but I don't feel. This is some scary fucking times, dude. That's all I got to say on that.